Hello everybody, I'm back again, the Unknown Libertarian, and I apologize to all the people who have been waiting for me to come on and talk to them. I have had a lot on my plate lately. I've been trying to start a small business. I work a full-time job. I am married. I have a lot going on in my life. I've got some political activism going on as well. I thought tonight we would discuss, and as we always do, I'm going to open by quoting one of my great favorite personalities out of history, Confucius. And the quotation, of course, is, "Wisdom begins by calling things by their right names." This is very important, and this is something the politically correct crowd, and believe me, they're anything but correct, would agree with. We might as well call news propaganda, huh? Anyway, one of the big things that's coming up in the news lately, and it's been bothering me as well, is the battle cry going out that somehow the government, particularly the state government in Arizona, taking action against illegal aliens is somehow racism. Okay. The definition of racism is the belief that one racial stock is superior to another. I hate to break this news to some people, but Mexicans are, for all intent and purposes, Spanish and American Indian. They're mestizos. The only difference being that most people in North America, who by the way have some degree of Indian blood in them as well, are basically Anglo and American Indian. This is not a question of racism. One might claim that it is ethnocentrism, the belief that one ethnicity or a particular culture is superior. And that's just nonsense as well. This country has borders, it has laws. And those laws also concern immigration. I feel that what is going on now is a slap in the face to every person who has legally immigrated to this country, stood in line, assimilated, learned the language, learned the government, learned the history, and wanting to become Americans, not hyphenated Americans. For that reason, I keep hearing people referring to themselves as African Americans. Well, I want to tell all of you wonderful folks out there that I have a great deal of American Indian blood in me. So I guess we can start calling the Unknown Libertarian a Sino-Siberian. How's that grab you? The reason I'm going into this, and the reason I'm talking about this issue in just this way, is to show the absurdity of all of this. If the statists and the people to the left end of the political spectrum were so concerned about a colorblind society, then why is it on job applications do we have a place check which race you belong to? I always check other, by the way, or I don't check anything at all. If they really wanted a colorblind society that they claim they do, race and ethnicity would play no part in hiring. It would play no part basically in any issue of our lives other than a point of interest. Moving along here, I'd like to make a few more definitions obvious. A good example of this would be almost like if anybody ever read the book 1984, George Orwell. You remember that Winston worked in the Ministry of Information, and his job was helping create newspeak. Well, basically his job was burning all the old books and periodicals that Big Brother didn't want people to read. No sense confusing people with the truth. The fact of the matter is that in large part, I think, is really the danger of political correctness, or that term in and of itself as it stands. What we're really dealing with here is largely ignorance and emotionalism that is fueling this issue. I would challenge anybody in Mexico to tell me what the Mexican army does to people crossing over the border from Guatemala into Mexico illegally. If this is news to anyone, the last I heard they were being shot. So much for America being a horrible nation of ethnocentrists or racists, if you will, which of course we're not. This particularly bothers me. I wanted to talk about a few other things tonight, and I think what I'm trying to get into is not only the fact that we need to call things by their right names and we need to address issues intellectually instead of emotionally, is the fact that the First Amendment is particularly protective of speech that we find offensive. It's extremely dangerous to start cherry-picking which phrases and which ideologies you don't want to hear from. If you have a problem with somebody slandering you, or if somebody has committed libel against you, well, there are remedies in the courts for that. The idea of hate speech is frightening because it punishes what lawyers call mens rea, or the meaning, the intent that was in the mind. Punishing people for what they think, of course, is an absurdity, and I won't even go any further with that. What I also wanted to talk about tonight, and it's an unrelated topic, and yet it might be related, is the fact that we see what's happening in Greece now, and ultimately I believe the euro will collapse. They may prop it up, they may bring it back and still call it the euro, but the fact of the matter is there are a number of issues pertaining to that. I really want to encourage everybody, if you get the chance, to go to inflation.us, and I want you to look at a video or a vlog entitled Melt Up. You'll see I think it's a half eagle on there, an American gold coin. You'll see the Indian on the front as it melts away. Excellent work. First-rate material. I highly recommend it for anybody who's interested in the economy or our present political state of affairs. I guess I could really go on and generalize a few other things, and I hate to use the term generalize. I could get very specific. I like to really focus once again on Confucius and his saying that wisdom begins by calling things by their right names, and it does. I've noticed that this has been abused over the years. There seems to be a great deal of ignorance. There was an excellent book years ago. It's long out of print. It was called Know Your Isms. It was illustrated. There were actually some comical cartoons in it. It described the origin and the words fascism, communism, collectivism, all these isms that keep being bandied about by people. And finally, I think what I really wanted to talk about tonight also was the fact that we keep hearing about polls. I don't know how many of you have ever been contacted by a pollster or what they've asked you, if you've ever even been contacted by one. I think that largely polls are really discredited because they focus on a very small group. I think a lot of the pollsters that are out there in business today probably poll the same people in their office building to find out what their opinions are. And I think come this November we're going to see some radical change, both in our society and in our economy. And I hope both are for the better. I'm a little skeptical about the economic side of it. There's no doubt in my mind where we're headed politically. Last but not least, I would like to talk to all of you on a very serious note about acquiring precious metals. In 6,000 years, gold has never been worthless. Can you say the same thing about cloth, what people call paper currency, fiat currency? I don't think so. By the way, the word fiat in Latin actually means to be. So I guess we may as well just pick oak leaves off a tree, and I guess we can call that currency as well. We may as well, since we're printing so much specie, the government isn't even keeping track of the M3 anymore. They admit through their own admission that they don't even know how much currency they're actually shoveling into the economy with this failed bailout. I really did this tonight on a shoestring, and I apologize to everybody. I'm going to get my ducks in a row, and I'm going to start producing some better stuff. I just wanted to jump back into the game and basically tell you I was still out there. This was going to continue. We're going to have the contest down the road now to identify me, because after all, I am the unknown libertarian. And I think somewhere down the road I will reveal who I am. I'll show my face. We're in for some interesting stuff. We're also going to do some firearms reviews. I've been looking all over YouTube, and while they have focused on the Makarov pistol, no one has done a review on the East German variety, of which I am the proud owner of 2. And I think that'll be coming down the pike, as well as some other facts about some interesting firearms. So everyone, take care. This is the Unknown Libertarian, and I hope that you enjoy this. And like I said, this will get a lot better. I basically had to do this on a shoestring. I've been incredibly busy, and I know that's not really an excuse, but it's the best one I can offer for right now. So God bless everyone. Long live America. Long live the Constitution.